Welcome back to another action-packed episode of the Deadly Podcast Kung Fu, brought to you by the Villains Man, myself, Justin Raymer, as I explore the worlds of Marvel's most prolific martial artist and Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, and the White Tiger. If you want to keep up with the podcast, you can do so over on social media platforms, Twitter X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. If you want to keep up with myself, Justin Raymer, you can do so over on Twitter X and Instagram. Currently on the last tab on the left, our actual play podcast that I do with my friends. I am running the Infinity Crisis of the Omniverse, where Dr. Doom, Kid Goku, and Ichigo Kurosaki are trying to save all of existence from a threat trying to destroy it all. Well, they're fighting Darth Vader. Yes, that Darth Vader, Lord Vader from Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker that everyone loves. And he has a Sinestro Corpse ring because all of these villains are wearing the rings of the various emotional spectrum corps from DC Comics. So if you love a good time, if you love dick and fart jokes, if you love some really serious roleplay, please subscribe and listen. And follow Last Tavern on the Left, wherever you follow Deadly Kung Fu Pod at. Now, I want to touch on some stuff here before I get into the recently and very exciting and intriguing Undead Iron Fist number 2. Back on October 19th of 2025, which is just a couple days ago for the book released. Every Sunday I'm trying to post the whole bring back Finn Jones and Jessica Henwick as the Iron Fist. I know a lot of us were hoping that maybe they would show up at New York Comic Con for the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 panel, but they didn't. So it's hard to gain any type of traction on Twitter. Omar from the I Am Iron Fist blog will probably tell you that. And I've got some here and there, but man, boy, did this Sunday's post about that get some traction. So it had, as of last night, and this is the 23rd, it had 555 likes, 164 comments, most negative, 17 reposts, but it had 39.3 thousand views. I'd say that's pretty good. A lot of negative comments, like I said, but a lot of likes. So I'd assume that those outweigh that, man, people just really hate Finn Jones. And I think if you would just let him have that another shot at Danny Rand, even if Secret Wars is going to reboot everything, and you'll find out that better writing for the character will probably make you enjoy him a lot more. But I will say this, like I've been saying it, let Finn Jones come back as Iron Fist. Let Jessica Henwick come back and they can be the Iron Fist, because we know, as we currently have in Marvel continuity, there can be more than one Iron Fist going on. Now, before I continue on, Jason Lowe wrote this story. Next week, we have X-Avengers number 1 coming out, which he is doing as part of the X-Men Age of Revelation event. So, this week, he's doing Danny Rand. Next week, he do Shang-Chi. So, pretty excited about that. But that might get pushed back a week. Just depends on how I feel about what's going on, and we'll get to that here in a little while. But the first thing I want to bring up with Undead Iron Fist number 2, and this for number 3, and for number 4, which is the final issue, stop spoiling everything the day of release. Please. People don't get to their LCSs the day a book releases. Everybody's LCS opens at a different time. That's across the world. You got a 24-hour time spanning zone. So every LCS usually will open 1 hour after the other one, and spoilers are everywhere. Please, people, be respectful. This is the reason why I am ordering this book digitally, even though I buy it physically, because of spoilers, and I don't want anything spoiled. And if you are reading this book and you do not want it spoiled, please stay off the internet, because man, I'm talking early Wednesday morning on the 22nd. The end of this book was already out there. No surprise. But man, come on, guys. Have a little respect for people that can't just pick up the issue or don't want to read it digitally. I know there are them people that's still out there. I don't like to collect comics digitally. I like my floppies. But I do pick this up for this reason. Please do not spoil it. I'm pretty sure the entire creative team would appreciate it as well. So if you don't want to respect the people that create this content for you, just keep spoiling it. Now, as we all know, Daredevil is in this issue. Everybody loves Daredevil. Him and Danny Rand have a very storied past together. And I want to give a shout out to Randall and Kim, to the followers of the podcast, two people that I interact with more than most on social media. Big Daredevil fans. Wherever you follow Deadly Kung Fu Pod on social media, you will find Randall and Kim. Randall haunts a lot of Twitter X. Kim haunts a lot of Instagram Blue Sky. So follow them if you want Daredevil content. Now, I'm going to warn you, Randall is a Dallas Cowboys fan. I, as a Green Bay Packers fan, despise the Dallas Cowboys for a very, very long time. So that might be the only thing holding you back there. Sorry, Randall, but it might be. Just saying. But yeah, man, do yourself a favor. Go follow Kim and Randall. Love their DD content. But let's go ahead and get on to the main event. Undead Iron Fist number 2 was released on October 22nd, 2025, along with a ton of Marvel titles that I did not bother to write the entire number down for. But they are Astonishing Miles Morales Spider-Man Infinity Comic Volume 1 number 10, Astonishing X-Men Infinity Comic Volume 1 number 41. Now, I just talked about I don't like digital comics, but Marvel makes exclusives on the Marvel Unlimited app, so if you want to read these, that's the only way you're going to get them. We got Fantastic Four Volume 8 number 4. It's Jeff Halloween Infinity Comic, Volume 1, Number 3. Jeff the Land Shark, Volume 1, Number 5. Last Wolverine, Volume 1, Number 1. Now we're starting to get these Age of Revelation books trickling into your LCS. Shang-Chi is not in them. He will be in X-Avengers number 1 starting next week. Marvel Rivals Infinity Comic, Volume 1, Number 25. Marvel Rivals Unleash Infinity Comic Volume 1 number 1. Apparently I made a bold prediction for this book because of who is about to show up in Rivals. I seen it today that everybody was talking about, the Kunlun and Lin Lee thing that's coming out for the game. I don't play it. I don't do video games really. I am a tabletop RPG, tabletop gamer. But anyways, yeah. If you like Marvel Rivals, hey, you're getting some Iron Fist content coming. Marvel Zombies Red Band Volume 2. I just covered Marvel Zombies, the show, because of the Shang-Chi in it, and Katie from Legend of the Ten Rings. I also covered every appearance of Iron Fist and Shang-Chi in the Marvel Zombies comic, so here recently you can go back and check out both of those episodes. Miles Morales Spider-Man, Volume 2, Number 39. Miles just showed up in issue 1 of this story. Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, Volume 1, Number 13. Omega Kids, Volume 1, Number 1. Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, Volume 1, Number 3. Predator, Black, White, and Blood, Volume 1, Number 4. Still boggles my mind that Predator is a Marvel property now. Radioactive Spider-Man, Volume 1, Number 1. Spider-Girl, Volume 3, Number 5. Star Wars, Jedi Knights, Volume 1, Number 8. Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 3, Number 22. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, Volume 1, Number 5. Ultimates, Volume 3, Number 17. So I know people wanted me to cover the Ultimates because, you know, the Iron Fist and the Shang-Chi stuff. Maybe when I get some time, I've got a lot going on here on the pod since I've opened up the pod, reading new books, along with starting from the beginning of Iron Fist and Shang-Chi's continuity. So when I get some time, 1 week, I will sit down and probably start all those, just so I can say that I have them. Because right now, I will cover a saga in the old stuff with Iron Fist, Shang-Chi, and I might have a spot to plug in an episode of something else, and that might be where I do those at. So just kind of giving you a heads up. Uncle Scrooge, Earth's Mightiest Duck, Volume 1, Number 3. X-Men, Book of Revelation, Volume 1, Number 1. The title of our story is called Midtown Mayhem, and your creative team is writer Jason Lowe. The cover is by Portacio and Sinclair, which features Daredevil and Iron Fist locked in battle. We have the Sand variant, which is really freaking awesome, and a lot of people thought should be the main cover for this story. I'm not going to disagree with that because I feel that it embodies what this entire book is about. Don't get me wrong, the main cover with Danny and Matt fighting, yes, is what's going on in the story, but the whole demons, the unknown white dragon that we've seen in the background of issue 1, yeah, I thought that cover should have been the main cover. And then we have the Godtail variant, which we look like we're having a Shinryuken from Street Fighter being thrown up with Danny Rand and his new purple chi. That is pretty wild. Looks like Street Fighter art to me, like a promo for any of the games. I love it. I ordered all these. Now the big one here is the Stormbreaker variant. A lot of people complain, why is Daredevil on this cover for Iron Fist? Okay, for one, he's in the book. 2, this could easily be Daredevil from the Civil War era of Marvel Comics, when we all know that Danny Rand posed as Daredevil while he was in prison. So go read The Devil in Cell Block D and you will understand. But yeah, that's how I seen that. That's Danny as a Daredevil, not Matt. So let's go ahead and get on with that story. The Undead Iron Fist continues to run through the streets of Soho on his way to Rand Tower as the Wraithlings give chase. Using his newfound powers to free the people they have possessed, the path of chaos draws the attention of Daredevil. Leaping from building to building, Danny gets caught up in his thoughts about the new chapter of the Book of the Iron Fist Orson Randall revealed to him in the afterlife. He apologizes for not being able to return to the world to help stop Razorfist. He then tells Danny about the corruption behind their mantle and that it will be up to him to kill the creator of the Book of the Iron Fist. His thoughts lead him to be caught off guard by his pursuers. As Danny clears out the gang in the middle of a busy street, the Devil of Hell Kitchen arrives to confront him. Using his radar senses, he is puzzled at the being that stands before him. As Wraithling-possessed police show up, Matt tries to stop Iron Fist from hurting them but fails. The two friends trade blows before Danny flees so not to waste what precious time he has left. As more and more of the demons give chase, Daredevil realizes who is under the mask and tries to help. Caught up in the chaos of Times Square and not wanting to waste more time, Iron Fist uses his powers to hide from the Wraithlings as they swarm Matt. Knowing Daredevil is more than capable of taking care of himself in a fight, Danny continues towards Rand Tower. In the penthouse of the building, Quan Yazoo, the first Iron Fist, watches the chaos unfold as it moves in his direction. Placing his hand on the Book of the Iron Fist, he promises to end Danny despite his newfound powers. Honestly, I thought this read a lot faster than the first issue. I swear I sat down and I read this in a matter of minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Even my reread was real fast. When Jason Lowe said this was like the raid, he wasn't lying, man. Danny running through the streets, just constantly fighting Wraithling with someone popping in to slow him down. Yeah, this does remind me of Wraith. Fight, get to the top, gotta get to the boss. And that's what it reminds me of. He wasn't joking. At one time, when we discover some newfound powers for the Undead Iron Fist, there is a black girl with a fro, big hoop earrings that swings a club at him, and I thought when we got the preview pages that was Misty Knight, because Misty Knight is known for that type of hairdo and the big hoop earrings from time to time. And I thought, whoa, Misty's possessed, but quickly realized my mistake. But we get these newfound powers. We got a lot of those in the first issue, so apparently he can become intangible. And they use the term Ghost Fist in this book, which is a DC character in the Immortal Men, which I think I brought up in the last issue or sometime during talking about this story before it come out. I'm glad they kind of didn't go with the Ghost Fist and the whole Ghost Fist rises, but they do use the word here, and this makes him more like a ghost, and I do like that. But it also is a way to untangle himself or intangible himself away from Daredevil during the fight, and I think Jason Lowe did a really good job with this. So when Daredevil shows up, he throws his billy club, Danny catches it, and lets it go. This kind of sets up the really good use for his power in this book. So these Wraithling who have possessed police show up, and they try to stop Danny. Danny's going to fight him. Daredevil jumps over the car. He's like, hey, stop, let me deal with this. He jumps at Danny. Danny turns intangible. Daredevil goes flying through him, kind of comical, and then he attacks the police. Him and Daredevil get into a little squabble. Nothing big or whatnot. They just trade blows. And Danny frees himself from Daredevil. Goes through Times Square. The chase is still on. He's fighting Wraithlings. A hot dog cart gets involved. It's kind of funny. Then Daredevil throws the billy club again. Wraps Danny's hand up. And this is when we find out he's like, Danny, I'd recognize your movements. All too familiar with your style. You can't keep going around like this. So we now, Misty knows something's going on because surely Miles is going to tell her after the first issue. Now Daredevil's aware, hey, Danny is back from the dead. And I'm surprised he never brought that up. He just knew that it was Danny. But then again, it's Marvel Comics. Daredevil's been brought back from the dead. Who hasn't been brought back from the dead at this point? That's been a major hero of Marvel. But I love how now that he caught the club, he lets the club go around his arm. And when the Wraithlings come, he goes intangible, lets it drop, and they swarm Daredevil. So basically, Danny uses Daredevil to escape. And I kind of like that. That shows you how serious this is, the Danny. This getting to Quan Yazoo up in the Rand building. Now, another power, and I'm questioning this, and I really maybe didn't pick up on this on the first issue because he was kind of invisible, but he has a way to hide himself from these demons. And we see this as they all swarm towards him like a big rush of people. Like, I don't know why the Avengers or even the Fantastic Four are not involved in this with all the chaos happening. Like, they cannot sense him. And they go after Daredevil. And maybe they're going after Daredevil over the Painful Lesson story where he met Lin Lee. I don't know. So maybe they have some grudge against him. That would make a lot of sense. But they can't sense him. So, like, it's almost like maybe he has a way to cut off his chi. And they cannot sense his chi because we know that the Chi Lin from the Mortal Iron Fist story from back in like 2008 could sense Danny's chi. And that was brought up in that story. So maybe this newfound ability, he has a way to completely cut it off. And kind of like your chakra points in Naruto, you can just cut that off. And they completely don't even see him when he's intangible. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So one thing that got brought up in this story, and me and Kim were talking about this on Blue Sky, I had shared it on all the socials, is how is Matt's radar sense going to pick up on what Danny has become? And we get this, it's really cool. So when they first meet, so how did you get the whole town riled up? Bad dealings with Mr. Fear? Even if they're mind controlled, you can't go on fighting ordinary citizens as if they're super powered criminals. Danny won't turn to face him. Then we see the radar sense around Matt's head. Then it focuses over on Danny. Wait, just what are you? And then Danny takes off. Not much of a talker, huh? So, how did he perceive him? Me and Kim had a great conversation. Does he see him like an undead hand ninja? Can he see, sense the chi within him? Very interesting. And I love Fran's colors on the radar sense, and just those two little circle panels that he uses. His coloring just is really great in this book. I love it. He needs to do an entire run of Iron Fist. Like, if there's something with Lin Lee, which we kind of were talked about at New York Comic Con, he needs to do this book. I really love his art in this story. But, and even at this time, like, could he hear the heartbeat? Would he know the heartbeat of Danny? And that's what I brought up. I don't think he has this, and that's what me and Kim was talking about. So even when they first meet, his radar senses cannot pick up that it's Danny Rand, which is great, because that brings the mystery to its, I guess, crescendo when he realizes, oh, look how this dude fights. I know exactly who this is. So maybe, and I don't get, like I said, I don't understand why Matt didn't pick up. He was undead at that point. Knowing how he fought, realizing it was Danny and Danny was dead. So that's something I just kind of wish they would have touched upon. So we have these flashbacks with Orson Randall, and man, that's really got me thinking about a bunch of stuff. So they're in the afterlife, and he tells Danny, I saw the whole thing go down with you and Razor Fist. And he says, the Chi-Lan, yes, them. For obvious reasons, I was tied down here. I tried bargaining to get back to the mortal world and save you, but my past sins didn't allow me to interfere. I'm sure you tried. Orson says, maybe you'll have better luck. At what, resurrection? So, I'm starting to think, I don't know if I said this in the episode with Omar from Iron Fist. I do not think this is Orson Randall. Now, we know he's in hell. We can go back to Volume 5 and the whole Damnation event where he was in hell, and, they were doing like the MMA stuff with Mephisto and whatnot. Or in the image where he's dressed like Iron Fist, you could say he is Mephisto. Har. Crickets, I guess, I don't know. So, but the first flashback we get in the last issue, Orson says it's a lie. Danny says, Orson, what do you mean it's a lie? You're in rough shape. Did you run into a dragon? He's ignoring the questions. Don't worry, you'll heal up pretty fast here. What is this place? And he says, I bet you have loads more questions, kid. I'll start off by telling you about a new chapter they left out from the books of the Iron Fist. A new chapter. Is there a chapter written in the afterlife? How would he even find out about a new chapter in the afterlife? But what kind of caught me off guard here is, for this I read the entire Immortal Iron Fist story because, for one, it's epic and you should read it like once a year. And, Jason Lowe had mentioned how much he referred to this series in this book. When Orson and Danny first met in the first arc, it's the only arc they've ever met in, when he was alive, he answered a lot of questions that Danny had. And he doesn't answer them here. Like, why build up the mystery? Why rush him to this resurrection? And I kind of think this isn't him. It just seems off to me. Like, he is so concerned about, like, rushing him toward this resurrection to get things done. And for one, how did he even see the fight with Razor Fist from Hell? Like, he doesn't have those type of powers. Like, he can't scry on him in, like, I guess, D&D terms. So I don't know how he would know about the fight, or even Danny's death. So I'm very curious to how that all comes about. But since we're talking about the Immortal Iron Fist, we'll get to the last thing here. One of the two plot twists left from Immortal Iron Fist gets brought up, and that is the long-awaited reappearance of Quan Yaozu, the very first Iron Fist, as in that story. We know that's been retconned. There's a lot of the Iron Fist lore is screwed up with retconning what happens. Even Quan Yaozu's story is a little distorted depending on what Iron Fist story you're reading. And I do have a Book of the Iron Fist episode ready for him. And I was going to wait closer to after maybe issue 3 because he was teased for issue 4. But now it seems like, hey, it's more appropriate to do that now than it is to wait. So I don't know if I'll do that next Wednesday. I might do that next Saturday because I'm thinking about moving episodes to Saturday. So when new issues drop, I have more time to prepare for them instead of just trying to cram everything on a Wednesday and get it out by Wednesday or maybe Thursday to you guys. So I might drop this next Wednesday so I can do X-Vengers on Saturday, or I might just give X-Vengers a whole week and maybe catch up on some Revelation stuff for X-Men just in case I need to. So I'm not really sure, but the Quan Yaozu Book of the Iron Fist episode is coming. It'll be coming very soon because I already have it together. It's there. It's just a matter of when I feel that I need to release it. And, well, I guess we have the Marvel Rivals thing that I was just talking about too coming out, which he was teased for. And I brought that up. And it makes more sense to have him in there, and because people probably don't know who he is if they're reading this book and they're not Iron Fist fans. So yeah, maybe I really do just need to go ahead and release that here in the next week. So I honestly thought that maybe this would be Davos, but I will take this. I think this is so much better. We have this crazy ending with a police car. Iron Fist does fucking the Iron Man ground punch thing because it's full of possessed people by the Wraithlings. Car explodes, they take off, and he yells, Quan! So obviously, Orson has told him who's behind all this. Again, how does Orson know that if he's in hell? For one, these resurrections are months ago from this part of the story, and we're going to talk about continuity here in a minute. But they are months from where this story takes place. So how would he even know anything about Quan being the villain outside being the guy who started the Book of the Iron Fist? I don't know how he writes it, because he was in the 8th City. More on that in the Book of Iron Fist, where I'll cover him, which you'll have to listen to. But, like, how does this, that's just my thing. Like, how does he know all this? How does Orson Randall know all of this going on months before this event takes place? Like I said, I do not think that's him. I just kind of, okay, even now that I think about it. So the 8th City is kind of hell, a prison. Even if you go to Phantom Limb, the hell there that when Danny died, he went to, we seen no other Iron Fist. So all these trips to the afterlife, even if we go back to Deadly Hands of Kung Fu and the Saga of the Firebird. Shout out to Omar again for posting that during, I think he posted it right after our episode released for the issue 1 or around the same time about the underworlds of Kunlun. At any of those times, even back then, we never seen an Iron Fist in the underworld. But now, for the first time, we are seeing an Iron Fist in the otherworld. And he's talking about the sins that he's committed. And if you've read any of the stories, you understand. Just, like I said, read Immortal Iron Fist. Like, I love Orson Randall and everything that was done with him. I get that his sins is what's brought him to hell. But you would think that he redeemed himself enough to not go to an underworld. Like I said, we've never seen one. So, again, I don't think that's him. Because if Danny's sin is thievery in Phantom Limb for stealing the chi of Shao Lao the Undying, we would see more Iron Fist in the underworld. Because most of them would be guilty of that. We know that, and I've recently brought this up in episodes with Pei and Lin Lee, like how they acquired the chi for the Iron Fist. They didn't thief it. So there is a possibility that everybody would have that option. But we know that other ones have killed the dragon and took the chi. So you figured that thievery would put more of them in underworlds. And anytime Danny has been in an underworld, we've never seen another Iron Fist. We know there are 66 of them outside of Fan Fei. You would see more of them. So I still do not think that Orison is who he says he is. Now, with that being said, I do not think that Quan is the villain here. The big question is, I think he knows the truth of why Danny's here. And like I said, I think Danny's been manipulated. I said this in episode 1. I've been saying this. So I question where Quan has been this entire time. Now, continuity-wise, and I know this is wild, I brought this up, and this is the Marvel, sliding timeline. Sorry, I might sound a little stuffy. Actually, I had to pause. My nose is bleeding. We're getting dry weather really fast here in southeast Missouri, which is known for crazy fucking weather swings. Sorry for the language there. But yeah, my nose is bleeding, so I might sound a little stuffy here. But anyways, so I question where he has been, Quan. Because, like I said, Immortal Iron Fist started in 2006. We first met Quan and escaped the 8th City, which is like the beginning of somewhere in 2009. So you're looking at close to 20 years of Marvel going on in 1 year. Because we know in the Mortal Iron Fist storyline, Danny turns 33. In last year's 50th anniversary, he turns 34 when the Chi-Lin kills him. Because he's a year behind, because Danny actually beat him. So, where has he been? Because this is what I can think of just off the top of my head that has happened since Quan has been debuted in the comics. Cyclops as a Phoenix has invaded Kunlun in AVX. Lee Kung was dead after the attack of the One, and Sparrow became the UT. Kunlun is once again under siege right now by Lin Fong. So, what has he been doing in a whole year? And, how does he have the Book of the Iron Fist? And if you want to go to that, and we can go to Ed Brisson and Mike Perkins' run of Iron Fist, which I think is criminally overlooked as story-wise for Iron Fist. That was where the last time we seen the Book of the Iron Fist with Shou Chen had the Book of the Iron Fist, and he invaded Kunlun. He opened a gateway. I love that story. And just the way how he opens the gateway and uses the Book of the Iron Fist. I won't spoil any of that if you know anything about the Book of the Iron Fist and how it works. But, yeah, so, there has been 4 different invasion. God, man, this is wild doing this with my nose all stuffed up here with, trying to keep it from bleeding. And I'm trying to record an episode. This is how much I want to do this for you people. So, there's been 4 invasions of Kunlun, and he's never showed up once in the entire year of continuity here. So, here's what I think's going on. He's talked about the lies. If you go to the end of Immortal Iron Fist during the end of Escapes the 8th City, Davos was sitting there by orders of his father, Lee Kun the Thunderer, the UT at the time, to kill Quan if he escaped. You'll learn all about that in the episode, how he gets in the 8th City. I'm not going to cover the Escape the 8th City story, just his origin, and I've been covering some of the Iron Fist here. He wants to kill him because he's afraid of what he'll expose. Danny realizes the corruption. That's kind of what the Immortal Iron Fist story is all about, the corruption going on in Kunlun because of Nuon. Me and Omar had talked about that in the last episode. I think he knows the purpose of the Iron Fist, because we know there's lies going on. I think he thinks that Danny is going to unleash the whole thing that I talked about going on with Lin Fong and opening up the gate, releasing the demon that's trapped in Kunlun, and Quan is going to stop him. Maybe he's been studying up on this, he's been preparing for this entire year of continuity, and that's why we've never seen him. Because he knows this has been coming. And the last time we see him, outside of Breeson's Run, when we get a flashback about him, he gets to return to Kunlun. Davos takes him there personally, and I'm going to kind of read all this from the pages. Davos told Quan he would personally escort him home to Kunlun. Quan would have his chance to explain his actions, and the Thunderer his. There was something the Thunderer and his new leadership would have to sort out. Innocent that we're throwing the 8th city. You just have to learn about that. So when we see them, Quan and Lee Kun are bowing to each other, like they are trying to make peace, and Davos is there as well. Throughout Marvel history, here we are, 26 years later, still don't know what happened between them two. Do not know what's happened with Quan. We know that Lee Kun has died during that time. We know that Sparrow has risen up. I've mentioned all of these evasions that has happened. Yes, the AVX one is wild. Omar brought that up in the last episode covering issue 1 and the mistake there that I'd never seen. Never seen. And I admit that. I don't know how I never picked up on that. But what has he been doing? I think he's preparing for what's happening now. I think he knows all the lies. He knows all the corruption. But we never really got to know what those things were. And I think that's why he's here. Now we know the immortal weapons are coming in issue 3. And I think he's brought them to help stop him. He knows what's going on. It's in the Book of the Iron Fist. This hidden chapter that is being referenced by Orson Randall may just tell everybody, hey, the Iron Fist is a key to opening the prison of Chi Yu. And like I mentioned, maybe that's why Lin Fong is needing the Iron Fist. Or Danny Rand, I don't know, an outsider. Maybe that's the whole thing. An outsider that is an Iron Fist needs to open up the prison of Chi Yu. Because I think that's what all this is about. I've said that in the last episode. And to me, I could see where Quan knows this. It's in this unwritten book of the Iron Fist that no one knows about. Except for whoever Orson Randall is, who could be Lin Fong, for all we know, with some illusion magic because he was working with Loki. And Quan is not the bad guy here. Danny is an unwilling pawn and does not realize that he is technically the bad guy. Now, Misty's got to show up. Colleen's got to show up at some point. Cage has to show up at some point. And I honestly think this is all going to happen in issue 4. I could see where the immortal weapons are trying to stop Danny in issue 3. Maybe Daredevil shows back up. And then the end of this is his family. All of them. Luke, Misty, Colleen, Lee, and Pei, they're all trying to, they're all there, like, trying to stop him, trying to get him to understand. Like I said, I don't think Danny is making it out of this story. I think he is going back to the underworld. Lynn, this is going to become Lynn's story. He is a footnote in Lynn's story here. I know that probably won't go over well with people, but I think that's the case. But that'll wrap up this episode of the Deadly Podcast of Kung Fu. If you want to keep up with the podcast, please do so over on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter X. And if you like my music, check out Rushing Tiger by Kuro over on SoundCloud and YouTube. Pick up these books from your LCS. Stop spoiling them the day they release. That's kind of a reason why I'm also wanting to move everything to Saturday, so I don't have to spoil so much for you. If you've not listened to anything, I can post pictures from the books. The podcast community that I come from, our golden rule is you do not spoil things in the first 72 hours of a release. Even with movies, you do not spoil them. And I live by that. I do not want to spoil anything, so that's another reason why I'm wanting to move everything to Saturdays. Maybe Fridays, and just not say anything until Saturdays. I'm not really sure yet. But please, stop spoiling these books. Next week, Jason Lowe. This might as well be the Deadly Podcast of Jason Lowe at this point, because this week, it's Undead Iron Fist. Next week, it's X-Vengers. And I swear, now that I think about it and I look at the release dates, These books are back-to-back weeks for the next couple issues that are being released, except for, even issue 4 for Undead Iron Fist kind of lines up like that. So welcome to the Deadly Podcast of Jason Lowe. But remember, guys, in the end, please support your comic book shops and keep reading comics, guys.